Good afternoon, plant lovers. I am mega excited to show you today's video. Me and my dad have been working on a DIY patio project for about 2 months and was prompted by 2020 being one of the strangest years where the world was required to shelter in place and home had become the new nest. I went from a 9 to 5 teaching job to working from home. I had much more access to my garden and I really wanted to do it up in a budget friendly way. So that meant I worked with my dad closely and there were a lot of blood, sweat and tears, but we made it. So today I want to take you along with me and show you how we built this low cost DIY patio. Okay, so we started off by laying out some pallets and leveling them underneath to make sure that they were all the same level. And then my dad started by taking some wood strips, which were from scrap wood, and filling in the gaps between the pallets. So he had to measure them, cut them to size. He's got a wood cutting machine, and then obviously trimming them, and then he connected the pallets at the front with like a metal strip, there you can see it, to make sure that they wouldn't move. And then we just continued laying out the pallets right across, and as you can see it was a complete tip the whole time, and it was really starting to take shape once the majority of the pallets were laid out, but there was still a corner with concrete which we had to drill. We tried to get the same pallet so that it could be quite uniform. Then once the majority of the pallets were down, my dad went about putting up a frame for the roof, and this is where we had to spend a lot of money. It cost around maybe £500 to £600 to get that, and we got it from this company. This video is not sponsored, but they were absolutely magnificent. Customer service second to none. They know what they're talking about, and I even forgot to order an item and they sent it to me delivery free of charge. So professional and so recommended. And here you can see my dad's built that main frame from the outside and is starting to put, I can't remember what they're called now, those long wood things that will support the roof. And let's just take a moment to appreciate my dad, because my dad is not a builder. He is a maths lecturer at a university, but he loves building. It's like a bit of a hobby for him. And look what he did. We had to buy these UV panels. It was a nightmare. The roof was an absolute nightmare to put up, but we managed to do it. And here's my dad putting the guttering in to make sure that when it rains, it's channeled down in the right place so the water doesn't go everywhere. The roof was definitely the hardest part of the project. Okay, so I have painted the pallet wood with this wood paint, which is called it's Cuprinol, and the colour is natural stone. So I painted all of the decking with it, and I must say it was really good at cancelling out the colour of the pallet wood, which was like red and blue, and that pallet there was the last outstanding pallet which we hadn't done yet because it was sitting on top of a septic tank, so we needed to give that piece a bit more attention. And it's got a nice rustic look, and to be honest with you, I loved it when it was painted this cream colour, but let's be honest, it wasn't really practical. I mean, as soon as I started walking all over it, started to get like footprints on it, so it did need to go. But what it did is it created a good base colour. I also forgot to mention that my dad put like a decking wood at the front of the pallets to give it a nice neat edge, and it really did look great. Now at the back wall there was this big white piece of plaster from where the door used to be, and it would just look so ugly, so my dad made a trellis out of scrap wood. He's becoming the trellis king, DIY trellis king, and that we put that over so it would just kind of camouflage that area. So as much as I love the cream paint, I obviously had to go for something a bit more practical. So I actually bought this grey, or the colour was actually called slate, fence paint, and I just started going over it, and it needed about 3 layers, and you'll see how it looks now. Okay, so here it is painted in the grey. The part near the door still needed a final coat, but you kind of get the idea. It's got quite a rustic look. It's not perfect, but I actually like that. And I think that using the paint over it totally has transformed it from looking really palette-like, and it just looks like flooring now, which I think is great. As the flooring was basically all scrap wood, the flooring for the patio cost us about £50 because I had to pay for paint and also that decking strip at the front. The money for the patio, which was around £600, went into the roofing, which was obviously, there were a lot of materials involved, but the actual decking was free. Apart from the wood strip at the front, which I think cost about £20, and then the paint, which was about £30 to £40 in total. Okay, so now we move more onto the styling part, and I kept it very basic, being sure to stay true to the DIY budget-friendly nature of the patio makeover. The thing I want to note is that I did not buy anything new to style it up. All of this came from things that I already owned, so this is true DIY style. Okay, so let me take you through. This canvas I bought, it's a picture of the world. I bought for inside my house, and I really didn't like the colours in the interior. The grey was a bit too dark and it didn't really seem to match, and I just think it looks perfect outside. Okay, these are some of my house plants that already live indoors, and I've just brought them out. And that is a Monstera I am propagating, and that's a fake plant. I don't like fake plants anymore, so I just thought I'd leave it outside. Nothing will happen to it. Obviously I'll have to take the indoor plants outside when it gets colder. These 2 garden chairs are not what I would have picked myself, but you know, as I said, I'm not going to style it up or buy anything. These 2 garden chairs were kindly donated from my parents because I don't have any garden furniture. Those cushions I already owned. They were from H&M, I think last year. This box is actually a storage box that my dad reclaimed. People just throw stuff out on the street, to be honest with you, and it's got a lid. I'll show you from the front, and that I just put all my plant pots in it, so it's actually really good storage. And here I've just done some styling for you. I've just got a pothos that I have, devil's ivy, that I've propagated, and this is not alcohol because I don't drink alcohol for religious reasons. So that is that little corner. Obviously there's so much more I want to do. I want to put hanging macrame from the roof, which is amazing. Like when it's raining, I can just come out here and I'm dry, so it's amazing. I want to get a rug, but I'm not going to do any of that this year. The season's nearly over, but I'm really happy with how that little corner's come along. Next year I might consider purchasing some stuff, but for now I'm just really happy. My dad's going to install some proper lighting as well, but I mean that's not urgent. We do have a light there, even though it's not the greatest light. That's the garden back door. And then here is the trellis that my dad made. He is fast becoming an excellent trellis maker. And what I did here, I originally had ivy there, but it was really short. I from the supermarket a while ago, I've got a video up. I bought 3 plants for £5, a honeysuckle, a wisteria and a jasmine. That honeysuckle was literally up to there when I bought it. Take a look at the honeysuckle now. It's so long, and that is really great because it camouflages the wall behind. Now, I was so exhausted by the end of this patio, so I decided I couldn't even be bothered to fix the wall. And to be honest with you, that plant's already growing. So that is just gonna cover the wall. So here I've got a honeysuckle and here I have a jasmine. As I said, these were 3 for £5. I purchased them like 2 months ago. And that plant pot is a plant pot that my dad actually made as well. And I just painted it. I had some spare paint left over, so I just painted it. And there's just some of my indoor plants that I've bought out. Here's another little storage box that my dad reclaimed. So I can just put, for example, those cushions when it's like the weather's cold, I can just put them in there. And then I've got my little herb garden going on. Parsley's looking great, some dill. The chamomile is looking wonderful. And then this is just a fuchsia that has been really hit by the storm, so I just bought it there. It also adds a little pop of colour. And on this side I've just got a storage box for my soil. I've got some straw that I don't really know what to do with, and just some more herbs that are going, that I've restarted. The roof is looking fabulous. We also put in, on this side, a bit of a screen from the side. Number one, that's going to stop the rain coming in from that side. And number two, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some climbing plants up here as well and get them to go across. It gives me a bit of privacy from the neighbour. I mean, I always feel like I'm being watched, let's put it that way, from that side. So I really appreciate the privacy that screen is going to give me, particularly once it gets camouflaged with, you know, with a climbing plant. Who knows, maybe even a grape plant or something, I don't know. There's so much we can do with this space. Oh, let me show you one other thing I did. So on the post here, this is the wisteria. So I've so far purchased 2 plants from David Austin, and I really liked their plant pots. They're really big and they're just square. So what I got my dad to do is I just got him to fix it to the post. And this wisteria plant, the idea is that it will climb up. Wisteria looks gorgeous when it goes up. Obviously I have to be careful with it because wisteria can be quite vigorous, but as you can see, it's already climbing up the post. But I will be pruning that to keep it under control. Let's see what else. And here we have the other one. It's the same pot, and it's just some English ivy, which I literally just put in, so it's just gonna start a bit of a view from here. Trying to give you a bit of an overall view, and that's how it looks. So happy with it, and a massive thank you to my dad. This was a complete DIY job. And I don't know if I've showed you the trim on the front of the pallets. It just gives it a bit of a finished look. And there you go, guys. That is my patio transformation. Very DIY. I am so happy with it, and it's going to give me a lovely opportunity to look out and enjoy my garden, which is a complete tip at the moment. Last thing, this is how the floor turned out. It's kind of like a washed grey, and I actually really like it, and it's not going to pick up the dirt as much as well, so that's good. I mean, you might see places where it's a bit rough, but you know, we worked really hard. I'm really exhausted. Anywhere else that it is rough around the edges, we can fix that later on, it's not a problem, but for now we've got the bulk of it done and I get to enjoy. If you have any ideas for what to do or what to change, I'd love to hear about it in the comments below, because obviously in terms of styling it, it's still a blank canvas and still a work in progress. One thing I do have my eyes on is an egg chair, but they're so expensive, so you know, I'm just gonna wait and see. And that concludes my patio transformation. If you liked my patio transformation, hit the like button, and if you haven't already, please show your love and subscribe.